BMW's iX gets a mid-cycle refresh for 2026. Let's go through what those changes are, which include a little more power and a little more range and a whole new naming scheme. I'm Jay, and this is Modern Motoring. Let's start with what's new, the 2026 mid-cycle refresh for the iX. And there's a lot of stuff. So let's start with the easiest stuff. They've changed the trim names. No longer is it 40, 50, 60. It is now 45, 60, and M70. Fine, and whatever. It corresponds to more power, and that's just fine. So for the entry-level 45, it is now 408 horsepower, 700 pound-feet of torque. That's an increase of 80 horsepower and 51 pound-feet of torque. Total range up to 502. For the 60, which is what I'm in, it's 536 horsepower, 765 pound-feet of torque, an increase of 20 horsepower. And this has the most amount of range of any iX for 2026 model year, and that's 586. And then finally at the top, we have the M70, 488 kilometers of range, 650 horsepower, and up to 811 pound-feet of torque when you throw it in launch mode. That is just wild. Please be responsible if you are in an M70 and you use launch control, launch mode. Just please be careful. Let's go into charging times. So the 45 charges at up to 175 kilowatts, and the 60 and the 70 go up to 195. So a small bit of a difference there. And the higher density battery is also what's new here. So here are your usable figures. The 45 has 100.1, the 60 has 112.8, and the 70 has 113.4. And BMW Canada says you can go from 10 to 80% in 35 minutes. So not too bad. The trick is going to be finding an actual fast charger that is either not taken or actually works. On the perk side, this iX drives exceptionally well, and I know it's supposed to. It's a luxury vehicle. If you've seen the Cadillac Escalade IQ video, you will know that is not the case, because that drive feel and quality was absolutely awful, abhorrent. Anyway, back to the positive side of things. With the iX60, it drives so smoothly. It's quick, it's responsive, and you step on the accelerator and it goes and it goes and it goes. And some EVs lose steam around 70, 80, 90 kilometers an hour. But this iX, it goes. And it's got so much power, and it's quiet and it's smooth. And yes, it's got the air suspension here. Probably one of the best drive feel and drive quality EVs that I've driven in the past couple of years. Given its size, the iX is surprisingly easy to park, and whether that's forward, reversing in, or even parallel parking, it's a lot easier than I thought. And having an available 360 cam certainly helps, but despite its size, it's agile at lower speeds, and same thing at higher speeds. Think of those 90-degree gradual bends on highways, doing the speed limit, 100 kilometers an hour, and it doesn't feel like you're fighting with the iX to get it to do what you want it to. It's very responsive on the steering side. And again, the agility and the maneuverability is pleasantly surprising. This kind of goes back to part of what's new, but I'm going to put it in the perk pile. I really like the way BMW has integrated its new style of headlights here in the iX. And BMW's had the same style of headlights for years and years and years, and this is a nice change for the iX, and I find it adds a little bit of enhanced value to it. Perhaps the biggest perk here is that it's got up to almost 600 kilometers of range, and I know it's only on the mid-trim 60, it's not on the 45, and it's definitely not on the 70. I've heard far too many times people say, well, I'm not going to get an EV because it's not the same as a gas car, and I can't drive as far, and I can't do road trips, and I can't do this, and I can't do that. Well, I think that's a bit of a hollow argument, because how often are you really going to go on a road trip? And if you are an avid road tripper, then fine, that can be an argument that is valid. And we're eventually getting to the point of having enough electric kilometers to match the amount of internal combustion kilometers. And back to that Cadillac IQ, that's got 748 kilometers of range, so that's better than some gasoline vehicles, but here having almost 600 is a pretty solid number, and you can do a fair amount with it. And again, you can do a level 2 charger with the fast charging. You probably won't find a level 3 out in the wild, but it's still doable, and I think having that amount of range is a huge perk here. On the Irks side, there is no retractable sunshade here. It's the electrochromic one. So you push a button on the console and the roof liner, and it either goes to clear or opaque. And while I appreciate the technology for it, the benefit of having a physical one is the front 2 passengers can have sun, and the rear 2 passengers cannot if they so choose. But now it's take it clear, take it opaque, and all of the occupants in the vehicle have to deal with it. The positioning of the internal door release doesn't do it for me, and it might not do it for you either, because not everybody has super long thumbs, and you put your 4 fingers into the hand rest place, and you put your thumb just up to push the release button, but it's so far up that I'm just taking my hand and using my fingers to open up the door, and it's not a deal breaker, and it's likely just me and maybe a few others that would find it well placed in the Irk column, but it could have been avoided. They could have had the latch on the inside where your fingers go, but last Irk is going to be some of the materials used on the inside don't really match the price point. I'm looking at the window switches and some of the controls in the center console and the max air and the rear defroster buttons here. They're not awful, but I would have liked to have seen something a little higher quality. And these window switches aren't only in the iX, they're in a few other BMW offerings. And it's too bad. I think for a minimal price increase, even $5, $10 or whatever it happens to be, they could have gone with something a little nicer, something that looks a little nicer, and most importantly, something that feels a little nicer. As I say that, the rest of the fit and finish inside is beautiful. A curved screen display, the seats, the dash panel, the next to no panel gaps throughout, the large space in the middle, down at the bottom for some extra storage, even the rear view mirror. Everything else matches the BMW brand as far as high quality and just good craftsmanship goes, but they're just missing a little bit of it. Let's get wrapped up with the pricing. So here are your Canadian MSRP figures for all three. For the 45, it is $88,900. Jump up to the 60, which is what this is, $94,900. And if you want the absolutely most powerful version of the iX for 2026, that's going to be $129,000 for the M70. Keep in mind the luxury tax. Keep in mind there's no EV rebates in Canada. As of right now, it is the end-ish of September. There have been rumors that it's going to come back in some iteration. I don't know what it is. I don't know when it's coming, but I will say that I have read a couple of articles where the Canadian government says, well, we're kind of maybe sort of thinking about it. On the competition side, it's the usual suspect. So it's the Audi e-tron, the Rivian R1S, Mercedes EQE, Genesis GV60, the new Lexus RZ, Cadillac Lyriq, as far as the popular ones go. I think BMW has done a good job as far as the type of upgrades they've put here. I don't think they had to completely reinvent the proverbial wheel for a mid-cycle refresh. They did the upgrades that matter, which is giving you more range and more power, and that's what BMW feels their consumers want the most. And yeah, there's some cosmetic stuff on the outside, but almost 600 kilometers of range. I know it's only on one trim, but one beats none, and definitely on the right track. And it may sway some people who are on the fence about the iX versus an internal combustion BMW or other luxury vehicle to maybe take a second look at the iX. That's going to wrap it up for the 2026 BMW iX. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to get you answers as soon as possible, and I'm always happy to engage in respectful conversation online. I invite you to join the Modern Motoring social media community. We are on all of the major platforms, and without you, there is no Modern Motoring. So I thank you, I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.